I'll have historians like Rakesh Sinha, Uday Mahurkar, Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, Sanjay Jha and Syed Irfan Habib joining me on the news track. A high-quality conversation on a deeply polarizing historical debate is my top focus on the news track tonight.
Another meltdown over Savarkar. Modi inaugurates Savarkar College. Congress taunts, why not Manmohan College?
क्या माहौल को सांप्रदायिक बनाना है या माहौल को ध्रुवीकरण करना है? यहाँ तो बड़े-बड़े स्वतंत्रता संग्राम सेनानी हुए हैं, क्रांतिकारी भी हुए, तो उनके नाम से क्यों नहीं?
Latest crossfire over Hindutva icon. Savarkar alive and well in our politics. Savarkar showdown. That is our top focus on the news track.
The political showdown over Veer Savarkar has reignited. This time the controversy is over the Veer Savarkar College in Delhi University, whose foundation stone was laid by Prime Minister Modi today. The new DU college has the Congress seeing red. Congress says that Savarkar was loyal to the British and a college should be named after Dr. Manmohan Singh instead.
A Delhi University college named after Veer Savarkar. Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation of the new college on Friday. The new Savarkar College has reignited all political showdown.
प्रधानमंत्री सावरकर जी के नाम पर कॉलेज बना रहे हैं। बड़े अदब से मैं कहना चाहता हूँ, प्रधानमंत्री जी, आपने महात्मा गांधी के नाम पे कोई यूनिवर्सिटी बनाई है? महात्मा गांधी के नाम पे कोई कॉलेज खोला है? आपको सावरकर से प्यार है, जिनका नाम गांधी के कत्ल में आया था।
वो लोग जो आज़ादी के आंदोलन में जिनका कंट्रीब्यूशन था, जो अपनी जान निछावर की थी, जो अपनी जानें दे दी थी, उन लोगों को कमेमोरेट करना चाहिए। जो ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट के साथ थे, जो उनके इन्फॉर्मर्स बने हुए थे, उनकी पेंशन ले रहे थे, उनको जो माफीनामा की चिट्ठियां लिखे थे, इस तरीके के लोगों को लेके वो लेजिटिमाइज करवाना चाह रहे हैं। लेकिन कुछ भी करें, इतिहास के पन्नों में जो दर्ज है।
The Congress in fact wants a college to be named after late former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh.
जहाँ तक मनमोहन सिंह जी का सवाल है, वो जितने बड़े अर्थशास्त्री थे उतने बड़े शिक्षा शास्त्री थे, यूजीसी के चेयरमैन रहे, और इस देश पर उनका एहसान है कि राइट टू एजुकेशन अगर किसी ने दिया है तो डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह ने दिया है। राइट टू एजुकेशन, राइट टू फूड, तो अभी ही उनका निधन हुआ था, उनके नाम पे रखा जाए तो एक अच्छी श्रद्धांजलि होती।
Hindutva ideologue Veer Savarkar has been a polarizing figure in Indian politics. While the Congress claims that he was loyal to the British, the BJP has accused the Congress of disrespecting Savarkar.
कांग्रेस को इतना ही इंटरेस्ट है कि वो सुझाव दे दे हमें, 2-3 के नाम बदल दे देंगे हम, और एक नेहरू के नाम पे या राजीव गांधी के नाम पे या इंदिरा गांधी के नाम पे 2-3 जो इंस्टीट्यूशन है उनको बदलकर नरसिम्हा राव जी के नाम पर और मनमोहन सिंह के नाम बदलने की हम सुझाव देंगे, तो हम जरूर गवर्नमेंट के साथ बात करेंगे।
Congress has time and again accused the BJP of leveraging Savarkar's legacy and painted him as someone who played no role in India's freedom struggle. For the BJP, Veer Savarkar is one of India's most inspirational freedom fighters.
Now, this is just the beginning of the Delhi elections, and we will see fierce face-off taking place between the BJP and the opposition parties with regards to all the things that the BJP will do, with regards to the infrastructure projects that the BJP will come up in coming days. It is Veer Savarkar who's once again back in the political discourse with regards to the elections that will be held in the national capital very soon. With camera person Kripal, this is Aishwarya Paliwal reporting for India Today.
So what's wrong in naming a college after Veer Savarkar? Why is the Congress ecosystem so upset? Is it inappropriate to have named the college after Veer Savarkar, given how much he means to the Hindu right, given how much he means to the government of the day? Or would it have been better, as the NSUI and the Congress are suggesting, to name the Delhi University College after Manmohan Singh, who after all taught in Delhi, rather than Veer Savarkar, who had only a distant link with what was happening around the national capital? To talk about this, I am delighted to be joined on the news track by a very distinguished panel. I want to begin by introducing Rakesh Sinha. He's been a member of parliament, has a very keen idea of what's happening within the RSS. We're also joined at this time by Uday Mahurkar, who's an author of a book on Savarkar, has been Central RTI Commissioner. We've got Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, who's written a book on icons of the Hindu right. We've got Sanjay Jha, well-known political analyst. And I have Syed Irfan Habib, leading historian. I want to start by asking Syed Irfan Habib about why he thinks it is not the best thing to have done for a college to be named in the national capital after Veer Savarkar. That's the announcement the Prime Minister has made. I see some historians and I see a lot of people belonging to the Congress point of view who seem quite upset. Can you explain why you think it's a bad idea to name a college after Veer Savarkar? We'll kick off the debate from there.
See, I don't go along with the Congress party. Whatever they are saying, it is their opinion. My problem is with Savarkar's politics. I disagree completely with what he did. So that is a part. So on that count, I don't agree that we should have a college named after him. Second, this was the best time actually to pay tribute to Dr. Manmohan Singh because the college is being named just 3 or 4 days after he passed away. And we are all talking about tribute to Dr. Manmohan Singh. I think this was supposed to be the best tribute one could pay to him, because as you said, he taught in Delhi College. He was the chairman of University Grants Commission. He was associated with academics all his life. He was a prime minister much later, the end of his life. Earlier life was spent only in academics, in writing and reading, teaching all over the world, including Delhi University. So he was actually the best person to have a name associated with a new college. And the point is that the college is being set up soon, 3 days after he passed away. So it was absolutely appropriate. I don't know what Congress is saying. I've not even seen what they have said. But this is my own personal opinion.
Okay, let Rakesh Sinha respond to that the former Prime Minister just passed away. He actually taught at the Delhi School of Economics. He was chairperson of the University Grants Commission, and therefore if new colleges are being commissioned, the ideal person to have named this after would have been Manmohan Singh. That's the demand the NSUI made, that's the demand that historians like Irfan Habib are making, that would have been the ideal tribute to a man who was genuinely an academic rather than someone like a Veer Savarkar. Rakesh Sinha.
Comparing the both, Manmohan Singh ji with Savarkar ji is doing injustice with both of them. Both have the different role and both are very respectable persons in our modern India. Savarkar ji was a freedom fighter and Manmohan Singh ji had been the Prime Minister of the country for 10 years. So there is nothing wrong naming the college Manmohan Singh's name. But here the question is different. Delhi University has decided much earlier to name a college in the name of Veer Savarkar. It is not the question of they are just using Manmohan Singh's name. This is a very wrong. The person who just died and has earned a lot of respect all over the country, you are using his name for the petty politics. Why don't you say that you are opposed to Savarkar ji? His idea is ideology, and as Irfan Habib said that he disagrees with Savarkar's ideology. The man who challenged the British imperialism and the hypocrisy of the Congress. I am telling Rahul ji, first time on TV channel something is coming. On 12th August 1966, in the Rajya Sabha, Dattopant Thengri, who was a Janasangh member and RSS Pracharak in the Rajya Sabha, he questioned the government, what government had helped Savarkar ji after the independence. Any financial aid was given to Savarkar ji. That time it was the Congress government, not the BJP government. Modi ji was not the Prime Minister. Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji was not the Prime Minister. Janasangh was not in the power. And the government, V.C. Shukla was the Deputy Home Minister. He answered, 3,900 rupees was given to Savarkar from the discretionary fund of the Home Ministry. And 300 rupees per month was given to him for 2 years by the Maharashtra government. That was the Congress government. Then Congress didn't think that Savarkar was anti-national. Savarkar's patriotism was acknowledged. This Congress under Rahul and Sonia Gandhi ji, they don't acknowledge, and they are the victim of the left historians who don't see their cultural nationalism and ideology which can give this country unity, integrity. They find cultural nationalism as a synonym of the communalism. That is the main problem. So Congress problem is that they don't have their own center of gravity of the thought. Their center of gravity lies in the headquarters of the left intellectuals.
Okay.
That is the paradox in the Congress politics.
You know, you're making the point that no matter what the Congress thinks of the politics of Veer Savarkar, he was a man who the Hindu right looks up to. He was a freedom fighter for the large part of his political and public life. Later, he stayed away from the independence movement because of the strictures that were put on him. But the argument being made is that this was a decision that had been taken long ago, and therefore Sanjay Jha to bring in the name of Dr. Manmohan Singh, the likes of Rakesh Sinha argue, is not right, because it's not as if a college will never be made on his name. At some point in time it may. This decision to announce the college in the name of Veer Savarkar was taken much earlier. Why then should anyone oppose it and bring in Manmohan Singh's name into it?
Rahul, I'm glad we are having this conversation with a very distinguished and eminent panel. I want to make a couple of points very quickly. Number one, I do believe that Mr. Savarkar and I are members and alumni of the same Ferguson College. And to me, therefore, I must always respect my seniors. But let's come to the fundamental points, really. The BJP and Mr. Modi have to make a clear distinction and take a call. Are they with Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, or are they with Mr. Vinayak Damodar Savarkar? The BJP's politics of running with the hare and the hunting with the hounds needs to be now called out. And there's a reason behind that. Number one, I'm a student of history and economics. I don't think the Congress was wrong. Mrs. Gandhi was also right. Was Mr. Savarkar a nationalist? Absolutely. Was he a freedom fighter? Without doubt. Did he want India to be independent? Yes. But there are fundamental differences, Rahul, that happen after his imprisonment in the Andaman and Nicobar. And that changes completely the whole conversation on Mr. Savarkar. Here is the point. Mr. Modi has said that Savarkar ji was the true patriot of India. The question that Mr. Modi, however, will have to answer is that the Hindu Mahasabha was, frankly, responsible for the murder of Mahatma Gandhi. Nathuram Godse, ex-RSS, was a member of the Hindu Mahasabha where Mr. Savarkar was the president in 1937. Can India live with this extremely glaring contradiction? That the father of the nation who fought for India's freedom struggle was murdered by Nathuram Godse. And let's not deny, Mr. Savarkar was arrested, he was later on acquitted. But a lot of people don't ever go down to the Kapoor Commission report. I have read that report. I have read large sections of it. And look at what the last part says. All these facts taken together were destructive of any theory other than conspiracy to murder, that's of Gandhi, by Savarkar and his group. So the first question that Mr. Sinha and the BJP and Mr. Modi has to answer, are we going to celebrate a man, no matter he was a freedom fighter and they had differences of opinion, it's true. Mr. Savarkar believed in an armed insurrection. We all know about the story of giving the revolver, etc., etc. But to cut the long story short, the truth is that the role of Mr. Savarkar in India's freedom struggle was zero. He had to write mercy petitions, which he did, and I quote, what his mercy petition of November 14, 1913 says, I will be the staunchest advocate of loyalty to the English government. So let's be clear. There were strictures. You are absolutely right in the introduction. Mr. Savarkar's role was limited. And the Hindu Mahasabha and the RSS had no role to play in the Quit India movement and no role to play in the freedom struggle.
Okay, let Uday Mahurkar respond, because he's written a book on Savarkar. Sanjay Jha presents this as a binary between Prime Minister Modi. Uday, allow me to finish my question, I'll get you to respond. that the Prime Minister claims that Mahatma Gandhi meant a lot to him. He's presenting it as a binary with the kind of politics that Veer Savarkar practiced, saying you can't claim to be on the side of Mahatma and yet want a college in the name of Veer Savarkar. Uday Mahurkar.
No. I would like to broaden the debate, You see, all the allegations against Savarkar being leveled by Congress are false. Take Gandhi murder. No, I must answer this allegation, Take Gandhi murder. In 1978, Manohar Malgaonkar, by no means a supporter of RSS or Savarkar, wrote a book, The Man Who Killed Gandhi. In 78, he met Digambar Badge, the person who had turned approver and on whose statement Savarkar was arrested. He told Manohar Malgaonkar that I had given the statement against Savarkar under pressure of the then Nehru government. 30 years after the incident, in 1978. And Savarkar, you have to look at him from many angles, but Savarkar leaves behind a dual legacy. One is that of a revolutionary and another is of a visionary of India's national security. He foresaw partition in 1937. He has predicted partition in 1937 because of the Muslim appeasement policies of the Congress. He predicted the 1962 China war in 1954. He predicted the Assam crisis in 1941. So Savarkar is basically a visionary of India's national security. I would call him a Nostradamus because all the problems which India has faced on the national security front in the last 75 years, he predicted each and every of that problem, So, you see, basically, Savarkar was the biggest critic of Muslim appeasement policy from day one. So, any party, any group which wants to appease Muslim community has to perforce oppose Savarkar and defame him and demonize him. That is the root cause why Savarkar is constantly under attack.
No, but why does this Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay become such a binary between love and hate? He had a certain position. He's the originator of the concept of political Hindutva, cultural, social, religious Hindutva. He defines it. He gives the Hindu right a political ideology. And naturally, there will be people on the left who will not like him. There will be people on the right who will think of him as an ideologue, as an icon, as the Prime Minister Amit Shah and several other people do. But why should he not get his fair share? No one's saying that he played the same role as, say, a Vallabhbhai Patel or a Mahatma Gandhi. The question I have is, why deny him his fair share? One college named in Delhi University, one Murti in Parliament. Why should that always become such a big controversy? Why not give him his fair, limited share in the pantheon of Indian nationalists?
First of all, Rahul, thank you very much for getting me on your show on such an important thing. This entire debate that has gone on so far, unfortunately, exactly going in the direction where it is intended by those who are naming the college, which is to take away the focus from education. It is, after all, a day when fresh colleges, Delhi University is going to be having new campuses, which should be very welcome and by all people, because any kind of expansion of the infrastructure of education should be a issue of being welcome. But unfortunately, we end up debating only on whether Savarkar was a nationalist or not, whether he's the one who was Nostradamus or not, various kinds of, depending on very firm, rigid positions of each one of us. For some people, purely from an ideological perspective, from some people, maybe not from such an ideological position, fixed with certain groups or certain political parties or organizations. Now, I want to very briefly, make 5 points. One I, of course, talked about that is very unfortunate that on a day when should be lauding the expansion of Delhi University after several years, maybe Irfan Bhai would be able to say better exactly the number of years after which such an expansion of Delhi University has taken place. Instead of that, we are talking about something which is very political. One of the panelists, I think it was Uday Mahurkar, or it was Rakesh Sinha, who said that it was decided by Delhi University long ago as to this college is being named after Savarkar. Now, in politics and in any line, even in journalism, we first look at the timing. Savarkar, a new college named after Savarkar, just days before Delhi elections are being announced. Of course, this decision is ideologically and politically motivated with an eye on the EVM machines. So that is something there. Second point I just want to touch upon, I will not go into it and give my opinion, is that we have to accept that Savarkar is an intensely problematic personality of Indian history. He is referred to as Veer Savarkar primarily for his role in London in the years between 1905, after he reached there to study, and till the time he was deported back, when he was involved with the entire conspiracy in which Dhingra was eventually executed in that entire act of revolutionary terrorism, and also for the book which he wrote on the 1857 uprising, call it revolt, call it whatever you all want to say, depending from the ideological position you come in which he talked about India's compositeness as being the primary reason why the people could rise unitedly against the British, something which he negated in his later postulation of Hindutva, and goes into fairly length. I don't want to get into it, but we all know he's the one who codified Hindu nationalistic politics or Hindutva. And of course, he was controversially linked to the Gandhi assassination case. He had even problems with the RSS, which have been fairly well said. The second is that I was looking back into, the issue of naming of colleges. I do not somehow or the other feel very comfortable with the idea of naming colleges after prominent personalities. I think we should actually deliberate and have a better thing, because governments will change and each one is going to bring in their icon. For instance, in Delhi University, so there is a college called the Shyama Prasad Mukherjee College for Women. It is somewhere in West Delhi. This was formed in 1969. Now, I tried to read up about this college. I couldn't find, but I presume that is the time when the Jansangh was in majority in the Metropolitan Council, and maybe it would be under the control of the Metropolitan Council at that point. So it was named thereafter.
Okay, so let me put that question to Rakesh Sinha, because he's been at Delhi University. Your argument is that don't name colleges after political personalities if you can, and definitely not against somebody you're calling a problematic personality from Indian history, because governments will come, governments will change, and whoever goes there then gets branded as being from that particular college. It's better to have more politically agnostic names, so you don't get this stamp of being from a college like Savarkar. That's the point Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay makes. I want you to respond to it. Rakesh Sinha.
No, it is his own opinion. I respect his opinion, but it does not need to agree with his opinion. We should not live in an era which should be fractured opinion and fractured society and fractured morality. We are passing through all these three things. The Maharshi Aurobindo's name was used in Aurobindo College. Bhagat Singh's name was used. We are paying respect to our national heroes. They played a vital role in India's independence. If we are naming Shivaji's college, there is Shivaji College. We are respecting Shivaji. Someone may disagree with Shivaji's policies and programs, his idea, but we cannot disrespect a person. We cannot allow someone to raise the question on his integrity and personality. As far as Savarkar is concerned, can someone say that he did anything which favored the British imperialism? He always stood against the British imperialism, even after coming from the Port Blair. He was virtually house arrest in era. He edited a magazine, and the general published things which went against the British imperialism. Savarkar represents the grassroots nationalism. And the narrative imposed by the Congress ruled and the pseudo-seculars against Savarkar is just like dividing the national heroes. There is no contradiction between Savarkar and Gandhiji. Who says that Savarkar was involved in Gandhi's conspiracy? There are two commissions and one court. You are quoting out of context. You are selective quoting. It was Nehru's apathy to Savarkar. And I quoted Rahul. The Congress government had given 3,900 from discretionary fund. This means Congress was wrong. Congress was helping a traitor.
So you're basically contesting, and it always comes down to this. The Irfan Habib, the RSS, the Hindu right says that his mercy petitions, his clemency petitions were a tactic, like Shivaji Maharaj, a tactic to push the Britishers away. He continued wanting India's independence, continued pushing for it in whatever way he could, because he was kept in solitary imprisonment in cellular jail in Andaman. To get away from there and have some breathing room, he bought himself some space. It didn't change how he felt. He was a revolutionary at the beginning and he was a revolutionary till his dying day. Let Irfan Habib respond to that.
Rahul, there is no question. I have said it earlier also in some debate on some TV channel that Savarkar earlier phase was a revolutionary phase. There is no doubt about it, and nobody questions that. The point is, all these defenses now, after his whole career was over and after we got independence, look at the period later on, what he did, what all he wrote. Now, these are very lame defenses people are actually trying to put forward, like Rakesh Sinha was saying, or Mr. Uday Maharkar was saying. Like, what was Hindu Mahasabha doing with Muslim League in 1939? Yeah? Forming government, collaborating to form a government. And it continued for some time. It's not just a month or two. So the point is, I don't vouch for what Congress says. I have nothing to do with Congress party. Point is, what the historical records say. There are archival records which speak volumes about his role as a nationalist. This pseudo-nationalism, as he calls pseudo-secularism, this pseudo-nationalism is much worse. No, people who had no idea of nationalism,
Rahul, I would like to answer
against the British. When was nationalism born? Our nationalism was born out of anti-colonial struggle. Now, what were these people doing during their struggle? The large number of people who just kept away, or rather, they assured in one letter after another. I don't know why people don't read.
Okay,
them.
Uday Maharkar, respond to Irfan Habib, who makes this very direct charge about Savarkar's life being in two parts. The first part clearly has him as a revolutionary freedom fighter, and the second part, he's repeatedly seeking clemency, forgiveness, promising he won't be part of it, and frankly opposes the Quit India movement.
No.
He doesn't want people to get involved. He's sitting it out. So there's a big battle taking place and he sits it out. So how can he be a great freedom fighter? Respond to Irfan Habib.
He has not hidden that he had filed clemency petitions. It's there in two of his books. One is in Marathi, from the Andaman ke Andhere se. In that he has mentioned that I used to tell my fellow revolutionaries, look here, we are not followers of Gandhi, we are revolutionaries, we are followers of Shivaji, and therefore we have to get out of the prison somehow and start our movement again to overthrow the British, number one. In 1914, when Home Member Reginald Craddock wrote a letter to the jail authorities there, कि भाई, those who have passed 5 years in rigorous imprisonment, they should be allowed to live with their families on the sea coast. In the same letter, he says, don't extend this thing to Savarkar, because Savarkar has got his friends across Europe. They will come with a vessel and they will hijack him from here. Yeah. So there is another total other side to it. One. Secondly, Savarkar was fighting Muslim appeasement of Congress as well as British. And in 1945, when Lord Wavell called the Shimla Conference, he did not call Hindu Mahasabha and Savarkar. And N.B. Khare, member of the Viceroyal Council of Lord Wavell, when he asked Lord Wavell, why have you not invited Savarkar and Hindu Mahasabha? He said they are greater enemies of the British than the Congress. It's all on record.
Okay, let Irfan Habib, who has his hand up at this moment, respond, because the point that is made, the comparison with Shivaji Maharaj, there is a tactical retreat. He never changes intentions. He's only pretending to seek clemency, so he's not put in solitary confinement. The argument is the likes of Pandit Nehru were never kept in the same kind of solitary confinement in a place like cellular jail as Savarkar was.
Why should we actually compare this? There are so many people who are in Andamans who suffered much worse than what Savarkar suffered. They lived with that suffering, spent 30 years, 40 years in cellular jail, came out and again continued to fight against the British. So it's not just Savarkar who was alone in that cell. There were people who went to cellular jail in 1857. You know? There were so many Wahhabis. They went there because they were
Craddock did not believe Savarkar.
No, this is a very lame thing, very lame.
Why did the British not...
Okay, one at a time. I can't have both guests speaking at the same time. The debate
It is
loses its
indefensible.
focus.
You
Let
just
one
can't
guest
defend
speak
it.
at a time. Irfan Habib.
It is indefensible. We should not defend that. No, why should we defend? There are documents where he himself writes his profile. He's talking of appeasement. What was he doing with Muslim League? No, these are all records available. We can all go and read. The point is how you want to read it. Point is that.
Let Rakesh Sinha respond that there were others who went to cellular jail, spent as much time in solitary confinement, came back resolute, determined to fight on. When Gandhiji was asked to sign a petition asking for restrictions to be removed on Savarkar, he said, I can't besiege those against whom I fight. They're saying others showed greater resolve, Savarkar didn't, and therefore he should be judged for what history says he actually did. Let Rakesh Sinha respond to this.
You know, the freedom movement was not a monolithic. Different ideological groups and different personalities have played their role in freedom movement in different ways. If we say that Gandhi was working during the First World War and asking people to join the army, British army, and money and men for the British, then is it right to name Gandhi for that? It is the only Communist Party of India, 1942. Irfan Habib has to respond this. They sabotaged the freedom movement, Quit India movement. Openly sabotaged. They created the cheer women's group to cheer the British army. No, why didn't you condemn the Communist Party? And the Communist Party gets more space in the history book. The Communist leaders get more space in history books. So you have to condemn the... And another thing.
One at a time, please. We can't have both guests speaking. Irfan Saab, let Rakesh Sinha complete.
Mr. Habib, Subhash Chandra Bose had different strategy. His strategy was not similar to Nehru's and Gandhi's strategy. And Subhash Chandra Bose remained coerced and condemned in the history books. He was the part of the footnote of the history book, not the main page. It was Narendra Modi government which gave maximum respect to Subhash Chandra Bose.
Let Sanjay Jha respond. I want to be fair. I see Irfan Habib is trying to say something.
Condemning Bose, this is the true character of the Indian.
Let Sanjay Jha respond to the argument that, each ideology and each of these historical figures had a certain role to play. The likes of, say, a Bhagat Singh, a Subhash Chandra Bose, a Veer Savarkar, all of them played a role. They have their own following, their own popularity, their own fellow travelers. Why then should one be debunked at the cost of the other? Why lionize only one? Respect and appreciate the role played by all. Sanjay Jha.
Rahul, I think Nilanjan frankly put it across in a very pertinent fashion when he said that Mr. Savarkar is a controversial character in the Indian story. And this is not to discredit him in entirety. I mean, every individual has their dark sides and there are decisions that don't work well. And post his release, if you look at everything that he said, I read one context for you out. There are so many quotes by him in his mercy petitions. I'll read another one out to you. He says, I'm ready to serve the government in any capacity, that's a British government, they like, for my conversion is conscientious. Now, that is a statement of complete loyalty to the British government.
No, but the counter to that is the Shivaji Maharaj tactic of finding a tactical truce and continuing your true mission.
Well, here is the point. Here is the point. That end of day, the bottom line, as they say, what is the kernel of truth? The kernel of truth is that Mr. Savarkar and the Hindu Mahasabha ended up having no role to play in the real struggle that led to India's independence with the Quit India movement, etc., etc. Because they were, and this is, I think, his biggest failure, Rahul, that a lot of people are actually unhappy about, that because it became fundamentalist, because he brought in Hindutva, instead of the freedom movement being united against the British, it actually became polarized. And therefore, the British policy of divide and rule succeeded to a large extent, resulting in the horrific partition that happened. The two-nation theory Can anybody ignore that? Mr. Savarkar believed in it. And this is the problem area.
Not at all.
So today, if you want
Complete
to celebrate
falsehood.
Mr. Savarkar, by the way, Udayji, we are not critical. I don't think Irfan ji and I have said that Mr. Savarkar was not a revolutionary leader. He was not a nationalist. We agree with that to a point. But his later politics, including, of course, the horrific engagement that his organization had with Gandhiji's assassination, has to be condemned. Mr. Sinha has not answered my question that I asked him. You have to make a choice, Mr. Sinha. Is it Mahatma Gandhi?
Same
or
allegations
Vinayak
are being
Savarkar?
repeated again and again, despite
You can't have both.
incontrovertible evidence given by us. Same allegations are being repeated.
Well, I have to go by the Kapoor Commission. I'll believe
If
that.
I ask the same question, no, Sanjay Jha ji, I can ask you question. Whom you select between the Lokmanya Tilak and Mahatma Gandhi? Who would you select between Mahatma Gandhi and Gokhale? This is not the question of putting one personality against the other. And I am answering one more. I am adding one more thing. Ram Prasad Bismil was in jail. He was awarded the death sentence. He wrote a petition to the governor. Does it mean that Ram Prasad Bismil was a traitor? Madan Mohan Malviya and more than 60 intellectuals of Kasi sent petition to Viceroy that he should be forgiven. And Asfaqullah Khan was the part of that petition. Does it mean that Asfaqullah Khan and Ram Prasad Bismil were traitors? This is wrong too. This is just to deny the cultural nationalism space in the country.
Not at all.
Irfan Habib wants to counter
honesty.
that.
Kindly read the biography of Ram Prasad Bismil. Kindly read the biography of Ram Prasad Bismil.
1 minute. In Ram Prasad Bismil's letter, or a letter written by other revolutionaries who were behind bars, none of them assured the British government that after they come out, they will work for the empowerment of the British, or they will work to weaken the revolutionary movement. None of them wrote this. It is only Savarkar who wrote this.
No.
That is the difference.
I don't. Habib Sahab, you are selectively quoting their letters. They were the great patriots. They are the great revolutionaries. No.
I have
Ram
spent
Prasad
my
Bismil's
45 years
petition
working
says
for
that just by such debate we are condemning the revolutionaries. By such debate, it is pathetic. It is pity. We should not condemn the revolutionaries.
Rakesh Sinha, I have spent my
Maharishi Arvind left India. Maharishi Arvind left India to go and settle in Pondicherry. What does it mean? Will you condemn Maharishi Arvind?
Why?
If we start condemning like that, as Sanjay Jha rightly says, so everybody has his own strategy. Maharishi Arvind settled in the Pondicherry, in the French settlement. Does it mean that he was cooperating the British government, or he was a coward?
No. This is something. What is this? He chose a different way. He went to ashram. He set up an ashram. He got involved in spiritualism. He didn't assure the British that he is going to work for them. He didn't write any letter like this. Why are you comparing this?
Sir, if you are free to condemn Savarkar, your condemning Savarkar will extend to Arvind also, because the ideology of cultural nationalism is become powerful. So you are not condemning.
Let Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay respond to this. The argument that I'm making is, why present Savarkar as a binary, good, bad, hero, evil? There are nuances, there are shades, there are people who believe in what he did, and to that extent, those who support his ideology must be allowed to do so without making to feel that they're supporting a villain. Why should they be pinned down and be made to feel guilty? There are those who like Subhash Chandra Bose. It can't just be the Nehru-Gandhi way of doing things. There are others, and a lot of people, especially those in power at the moment, think of him as a hero. He's a hero to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has spoken of this often.
No, Rahul, I think, this reducing the entire national movement to the phrase of Nehru, Gandhi, a way of fighting the British. I do not think that the Congress, the national movement was such a restricted one that we can apply today's disparaging terms to what had happened during the national movement. The point is not just Savarkar, but the entire range of Hindu nationalistic leaders. They stayed away from the mainstream national movement. Civil disobedience at that time, the RSS was not institutionally involved with, or institutionally, it did not participate. Hedgewar did, court arrest but for a parallel agitation, the Satyagraha, the jungle Satyagraha. Prior to that, he resigned from his position in the RSS so that the RSS does not get drawn into the national movement. So clearly they wanted to stay away. When the British, after the outbreak of Second World War, the British met Savarkar and he agreed should join the British Army, saying that it will strengthen Hindu society to be able to fight the
No, but I was reading your own book. In your book, you make the point that part of the reason he wants young Hindus to join the British Army is so that they get militarized and get familiar with firing weapons, which he thinks will help the nationalist cause. You've written this in your own book, Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, so why leave that part out?
To strengthen it against the Muslims. He is not talking about strengthening them to fight the British. That is what I write. That he is not saying we will get trained in their army and then fight them. His target is primarily the Muslim organizations at that time, because by that time the Lahore resolution is also there. 42, Quit India movement, Shama Prasad Mukherjee, by that time he had already become the president, but actually the real de facto president was Savarkar controlling it from behind. He does not resign from the Bengal government. He does it a year later on a different ruse. So the question is on the...
Rahul, I have one point to make.
Okay, I'm out of time. I know this is a fascinating historical debate. I'm out of time. So what I'll do in the interest of fairness is give everybody an opportunity to make a quick concluding argument. I'm out of time. We can go on all evening. Quick concluding argument. Rakesh Sinha wants to start first. Let him have the first word. Last word.
As far RSS and Dr. Hedgewar is concerned, RSS joined the movement, but RSS believed that there should not be two platforms, two flags and two leaders. They joined the movement supposing Gandhi as a leader, Congress as a platform. As far as Forest Satyagraha is concerned, it was part of civil disobedience movement. In Maharashtra, it was not Hedgewar. In Vidarbha, it was the Forest Satyagraha, which was led by the Congress War Council. So it is wrong to misrepresent the history, and Savarkar and Hedgewar played the vital role in the movement. You disagree because considering the contemporary political division, that should not be imposed on our patriots and the revolutionaries.
Okay, Sanjay Jha, final words.
I'm just going to add to what Nilanjan mentioned, that at the time when Subhash Chandra Bose was recruiting a lot of Indians for the Indian National Army that he wanted to kind of create as a bulwark against the British, Mr. Savarkar and the Hindu Mahasabha were doing the contrary for the British. So I think these are the contradictions that make Savarkar highly questionable. I will repeat it once again. I understand where Mr. Sinha is coming from. But the problem that he has to accept it, that Mr. Savarkar's role post his release and even during his imprisonment remains extremely checkered and controversial.
Uday Mahurkar, final words.
Savarkar demonization program is rooted in Muslim appeasement policies of the Congress from day one. Savarkar, as a revolutionary, as a visionary of India's national security, is an unsung hero. I think the recognition to him is long overdue.
Irfan Habib.
See, the debate, the way it has gone, is enough reason to stay away from divisive, controversial figures like Savarkar. No, there are people who disagree with him on so many counts, and this Muslim appeasement is a bogus theory, totally bogus, because Savarkar himself was part of that policy, if you call it appeasement, when he was forming government with the Muslim League. So this is something very, very far-fetched. It has no basis at all. He was part of this two-nation theory. He was part of the Muslim League's agenda. So we should know what the facts of history are.
Our viewers have witnessed a sharp, polarized historical debate. As always, I don't take sides in the news track. You've heard different points of views from Uday Mahurkar, Rakesh Sinha, Irfan Habib, Sanjay Jha, Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay. I leave it to you to determine and decide what you think of the role played by Veer Savarkar and where current historians and political players are coming out on it. With this, I slip into a break. I'll have more for you when we come back on the other side. Stay with us, back in a moment.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
I don't read the news. I read between the lines to tell you the true version of events, the true story of our times.
To document grief, the toughest assignment for any journalist to be.
From those who matter,
Women politicians going to stick up for each other.
of those who should matter, I document the truth. I don't distort the truth. I don't glamorize the truth. I don't gloss over the truth.
The ghosts of India's contentious medieval history have come knocking again.
I hustle for the truth, on the ground, in the newsroom, in the studio. I don't try to grab eyeballs.
I inform you to make you see the point.
To the point with Preeti Chaudhary. At these times,